Coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston-Auburn, it's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show with Mark and Sarah. We're covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com.
And today's show is brought to you by Rupert's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it. At 4 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com, and remember, the party starts at Ruper's. Also brought to you by DeBlois Electric, building lasting relationships since 1967. From homes to businesses, their licensed, fully trained technicians handle it all. Repairs, upgrades, standby generators, EV chargers, heat pumps, and more. No job is too big, and no job is too small. Learn more at deployelectric.com.
And we have the pleasure of being joined in studio by local legend Bim Gibson. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty. I don't know about I'm a local legend.
Well, you are to us.
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. This is a big week for us. We've had 2 local institutions in the studio.
Oh, Cindy Robbins
on
was
Tuesday,
here.
we had Cindy Robbins in
Yeah.
here. And today we got Bim. It's a big week for the Lunch Bunch.
Big gets.
We love it. So we are going to be talking about Bim's new books, My February Vacation.
Yep.
And your previous books that you've written as well, covering local baseball and football.
And basketball.
And basketball.
Holy
Sorry.
smokes.
Yes. And then we're going to have a special guest come in a little later on as well.
Who could it be?
Another local legend.
Another local
That's
legend.
right. And before we get to all that, let's take a look at some headlines for Thursday, February 19th.
Central Maine Power is proposing rates that could lower bills by about $4 per month on average starting in July. It's a temporary decrease as CMP plans to seek approval for another rate change for next year. The new proposal still requires approval from the Public Utilities Commission.
Bates College is seeking approval for a $45 million upgrade to its gymnasium and athletics facilities. Representatives will appear before the city's planning board on Monday to discuss the project, which will receive $14 million from the college. Additional funding will be provided by alumni, parents, and friends.
The City of Lewiston has 3 vacancies on its Historic Preservation Review Board and is welcoming new members. The board works with city staff to preserve, protect, and enhance buildings and areas that represent important elements of the city's history. Meetings are on the first Thursday of each month at 3 p.m. at City Hall. For more information, visit lewistonmaine.gov.
And Make-A-Wish Maine granted a record 89 wishes in 2025 and hopes to grant even more this year. The organization has a goal of ensuring children across all 16 Maine counties can experience what it calls the best day ever, after what is often their worst. A reminder that the Wishes in the Valley fundraiser to benefit Make-A-Wish Maine is scheduled for August 8th at Lost Valley in Auburn.
Pam's already asked me to sing the national anthem.
Why wouldn't she?
It's early.
I heard it went over very well.
It's very early.
Do I have to stand up?
Yes.
You could hear Sarah through the mountains on that day.
That was kind of cool.
Right?
Yeah.
There were people on the chairlift
Yeah.
that could hear you. Now it's time for the weather.
Oh, the weather. Rain or shine, it's all okay. Grab your uke and start the day. You don't need perfect skies above. Hey, just a song and a little love. Sunny today with a high of 38 and a low of 16. Cloudy tomorrow with some evening snow on the way. We could get as much as 3 to 6 inches, a high of 35 and a low of 17, and a mixture of sun and clouds on Saturday with highs in the low 30s.
In sports. In Winter Olympics ice hockey, Quinn Hughes scored the game winner in overtime to give the U.S. men's team a 2-1 win over Sweden.
I was at work. I had it going on my computer where people could hear it. But
Yeah.
when he scored that goal, I freaked out. And the whole office was like, whoa,
Yeah.
what is happening?
Who scored first during regulation?
We did.
Yeah.
So the
Larkin.
USA scored and
USA
then Sweden
scored.
tied it.
Sweden
Set it
Larkin,
into,
yeah.
okay.
And here's what the Quinn Hughes goal sounded like, courtesy of Kenny Albert.
Stick of Quinn Hughes and across the line. Hughes for Boldy. Now Quinn Hughes. We played 3.5 minutes in overtime. Quinn Hughes shoots. He scores! He scores! Quinn Hughes in overtime wins it, and the United States will move on and face Slovakia in the semis.
What an incredible game that was.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
I was kind of having a hard time paying attention at work yesterday.
Yeah, Sherry, I was watching it with Sherry, and of course she wants to see the U.S. win 10-0 every game.
Yeah.
And
it was
I'm
a
like,
tight game.
I'm like, if the U.S. and Canada end up in the gold medal game, I want to see overtime. I want to see the best players in the world under pressure. Right?
Yeah, yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, I don't. You guys might not be old enough to remember the 1980 game.
I do.
And remember how incredibly nerve-wracking it was?
I do, but wasn't it great?
Well, in retrospect, I guess it was. At the time, it wasn't that great. It was painful.
Yeah. But I thought yesterday's game, I was thinking to myself, when Sweden scored and it went into overtime, I was thinking, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
This is the best players in the world competing at the highest level for their country. It doesn't get any better than that. So I may be in the minority.
No,
but
I like
if it's
it.
U.S. and Canada, I would love to see overtime.
Sidney Crosby playing? I heard he was hurt.
No, he got crunched.
Yeah.
I thought he was coming back for the next one, though.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
man.
don't know. It didn't look good.
Oh, man, my boy.
But the
I still immediately after Quinn Hughes scored yesterday, I texted Mark and I was like, the ghosts that have been haunting Quinn Hughes have scored a goal in the Olympics. That poor man looks so haunted all the time.
what an amazing moment for him, though.
It was
right?
pretty crazy.
I didn't realize what a great skater he was.
Oh, he's got feet. Yeah.
Until watching him go. Minnesota Wild defenseman just stepping up big time for Team USA.
Is his brother also on the U.S.
Jack.
team? Jack is on too.
Yeah, Jack plays for New Jersey. They're both incredible.
They're really good.
And their mom, I believe, she works in player development for USA women's hockey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, runs in the family.
Very cool.
The Final Four is set as Canada will play Finland tomorrow at 10:30, and the U.S. will play Slovakia at 3. The winners will play for the gold medal on Sunday morning. The U.S. women's team will face Canada for the gold medal this afternoon at 1 p.m.
I'll be listening to more hockey at
There
my
you
desk
go.
today.
Going crazy.
The Lewiston Maniacs lost to the New England Wolves 5-4. The Maniacs will host the St. Stephen County Moose on Saturday at 7 p.m.
The NA3 Nordiques will visit the Norwich Sea Captains tomorrow at 7 and Saturday at 3:30.
And following the NAHL Top Prospects Showcase, the Maine Nordiques will be back on home ice next weekend as they take on the Danbury Hat-Tricks.
In the NESCAC basketball quarterfinals, the Bates College women will host Hamilton at Alumni Gymnasium in Lewiston, and the men's team will visit Amherst. Both games are on Saturday at 2 p.m.
Central Maine Community College in Auburn will host the Yankee Small College Conference basketball playoffs. The games begin tomorrow and culminate on Sunday.
And in the high school basketball tournament, the boys, well, it didn't work out for EL. They lost to Brunswick 52-44. That was a tough one. You were there, Bim.
It was tough, and Ed Will's best player fouled out with like about 2.5 minutes left, so that didn't help. But Brunswick's a good team.
Poland lost to Madomic Valley 63-57, and Monmouth Academy beat Madison 50-46.
On the girls' side, Edward Little lost to Mount Ararat 69-48, and Gray New Gloucester beat Marshwood 50-41.
And that is your news, weather, and sports. And right now it's time for the podcast segment that is Sweeping the Twin Cities. It's time for Famous People Birthdays.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. You like that one?
Who sings?
It's
That's
me.
right here.
Oh, really?
It's me.
You're
I
good.
play
Sarah
both the uke and I sing.
Multi-talented.
Do you have an album coming out? Or?
I have a couple.
Should. Sarah sings the jingles.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call it.
I still got to do Roopers. I haven't.
Let's take a look at FPBs for February 19th, shall we?
Okay.
All right. We're going to start off with Benicio del Toro, who is 59 years old today. He was in The Usual Suspects.
He was so good in that movie.
Yeah.
You could not understand a word he said. That was his character.
Oh.
It was hilarious.
Right. Justine Bateman, 60 years old today.
Aw.
She played Mallory on Family Ties.
That's right.
And her brother's an actor, too.
Sure
That's
is.
Jason Bateman, right?
Yeah. Singer Seal is 63 years old today. He's got the big hit, Kiss from a Rose. Mm-hmm. And isn't he or was he married to Heidi Klum?
He was married to Heidi Klum.
Gotcha. Actor Leslie David Baker is 68 years old today. You know him as Stanley Hudson from The Office.
Stanley.
Which he was part of that show from 2005 to 2013.
He was great.
Yeah.
Just always sitting in the back doing a crossword puzzle when Michael was up to shenanigans.
Doing as little as possible.
As little as
Did Stanley invent quiet quitting?
he may have. That's a valid point.
Actor Jeff Daniels, 71 years old today. He's been in some great movies.
I love his face.
He's got a good face.
Daniels. Do you ever see the thing he did when he said that America's not the greatest country in the world? And he went off on that. I can't remember what movie that was from, but he was brilliant on that.
Yeah, sure was.
He was really good. I don't remember what that one was either.
Speaking of brilliant performances, he was also in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of the opposite.
Yeah, kind of the opposite. But the toilet scene, I think, is my one major takeaway from that movie. Jeff, he really let loose in that one. All right.
Oh, wasn't he in Arachnophobia, too?
He sure was, yes. Yeah. Now that's going to bother me, Bim. I can't find the name of that movie.
Well, it wasn't a movie. It was a television show.
Oh,
he played.
okay.
It was about a news station.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm trying to remember that it wasn't a movie.
There were people punching their steering wheels.
Yeah.
Right?
I know it.
Is it Newsroom?
It might be. It might be.
I think it was on HBO.
It was really good. It was on for at least one season, maybe two.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2012 to 2014.
Guitarist Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath, 78 years old today. What a legend. Lost the tips of his fingers on his right hand in a work accident at a sheet metal factory. His ring and middle fingers, which influenced his distinct playing style, and he down-tuned his guitar and used more power chords as an easier way of playing, and made use of the tritone, which is also known as the devil's interval, resulting in a heavier and darker sound. That became the trademark of heavy metal. Okay. Thank you, Tony Iommi. And rounding out FPBs is Smokey Robinson, who is 86 years old today. He is an R&B legend. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987 and awarded the 2016 Library of Congress Gershwin Prize for his lifetime contributions to popular music.
Does he do Tears of a Clown?
Sure does.
I was thinking that too. Well, he did. He wrote a lot of the Motown stuff, even stuff that he didn't do. But like the Temptations, a lot of their songs were written by Smokey as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I do love that song. Tears of a Clown is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Those are your FPBs. Now it's time for some OTDs. Buckle up, Bim. Here we go.
It happened on this day. It happened on this day. It happened on this day.
Is that you singing?
That's me.
Wow.
Well,
You guys are good, though. You're better than I can sing, so I can't really critique it too bad.
Sarah doesn't like her singing talents being lumped in with mine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, she has a big problem with that. So if you could just say that Sarah's better than me, I think that'll work. She'd have a much easier.
She's closer to me right now. She could actually reach out and punch me. So
I got long arms.
I'm Team Sarah right now.
That's it. My day is made. I don't have to do anything else today.
Well, you have to do OTDs.
Well, I do have to do OTDs. How about this one? 18 years ago in 2008, Fidel Castro stepped down as the president of Cuba after nearly half a century in office.
Yowza.
Yikes. Here's a lighthearted one. 31 years ago in 1995, Pamela Anderson married Tommy Lee. Just 96 hours after they first met.
When the video come out?
I don't know. But shockingly, they were divorced just 3 years later in 1998.
Man, I really thought
That's
they
like
were
10 years in celebrity marriages. You
I
thought
thought they
those
were gonna
two
make
kids
a
were
go
going to
of it.
make it.
Yep.
44 years ago in 1982, Mr. Ozzy Osbourne was arrested for taking a leak on the statue at the Alamo.
He was framed. Yep.
45 years ago in 1980, AC/DC's lead singer Bon Scott died in London at the age of only 33.
Bim, I don't know what your music preference is. Do you enjoy AC/DC's?
I like everything. I actually, even though I grew up in Auburn, Maine, I was kind of an R&B guy.
Yep.
I mean, growing up, I had some friends that were very much into the Motown stuff. But I liked my freshman year at USM. My buddy was a big-time metal guy, and so I had no choice. I used to listen to him a lot. He liked Aerosmith.
Oh,
70s
yeah, great
Aerosmith.
taste.
He was
Sure.
very much into that.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had a preference between Bon Scott or Brian Johnson for AC/DC.
Who's the second one?
Brian Johnson.
I like Brian Johnson.
Yeah, same.
Was that when they came out with Back in Black?
Sure is.
Yeah,
that was his debut
Yeah.
with AC/DC.
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
that's probably what I as a historian, I did go back and I love documentaries. So I think I did see a documentary on AC/DC prior to that, but that's when I first was introduced to them.
it's like, can the band survive after Bon Scott? And then they come out with Back in Black, and you're like,
Right.
I think they're going to be
They're
fun.
gonna be okay.
They're gonna
The
be
kids
great.
are all right.
Yeah.
84 years ago in 1942, in a darker side of our history, President Franklin Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066. This is the order that let the military relocate and incarcerate Japanese Americans and Japanese nationals living in the United States, including future Star Trek star George Takei and his
Sulu.
family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
148 years ago, in 1878, Thomas Edison received a patent for his phonograph.
I bet he played Back in Black.
Back in Black. First album he
first
played.
album he
no
played.
doubt.
Have you ever-
Unquestionable.
He never hardly invented anything.
Right.
Almost everything Edison did was all by the people that worked for him. Definitely Tesla.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
But
Most famously,
Nikolai.
Tesla.
I wonder who actually did invent the phonograph.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to research that.
Yeah, I'll get right on that one.
Another book in the works.
All right, yes. Those are your FPBs and OTDs.
Dirigo Federal Credit Union is proud to call Lewiston-Auburn home. Whether you're buying a house, saving for the future, or growing your business, we're here for you, right where you live. Visit dirigofcu.com and feel the difference of a credit union that truly knows LA.
Hi, it's Donna Harris from Phoenix No Limits Karate here with your daily safety tip. Use family location sharing app like Life 360. Let's all do our best to keep our community safe.
And now we shift focus fully to our guest in studio, author, teacher, historian, researcher, retired, Bim Gibson.
I like the
Retired.
retired part the best.
Before we get into the book, is Bim a birth name or a nickname?
All right, yep, that's a good question. No, actually, my real name is William John Gibson the 23rd, believe
All right.
it or not.
The 23rd.
That's what they tell me. And my grandfather was the 21st. My uncle was the 22nd. And so my parents decided they would call me William John Gibson because my father's brother, William John Gibson, didn't have any sons. And then there was no other boys in the generation. So my mother said, okay, fine, we'll call him William John Gibson. But I refused to call him Bill because I guess she dated somebody in high school named Bill and she didn't want to.
Okay.
Right. And there was a name, Bim. There was a lawyer in Lewiston that was a pretty well-known lawyer named Bim Clifford. And so they kind of get the idea a little bit from that and then squishing Bill and William together. And that's what they tell me. And so that's how I ended up getting, but it was really my name before I was even born. They knew they were going to call me Bim. So it wasn't like something I picked up along the way.
So you used to teach history at EL?
I did. Well, Auburn Middle School. Yeah, I actually, after I graduated from Orono, I worked for Westbrook College at the time before they got bought out by University of New England. I did that for a while. Then I did sales for a while. Then I came back to town to work across the street at the YMCA. And I ran the youth sports program and the biddy basketball program and the teen center. I did that stuff for about 3 years. And I got to know the Aretzians pretty well, Dave and Barbara Aretzian, because they used to work out at the Y. And Barbara saw how I dealt with kids and said, would you be interested in a teaching job? And I didn't have my teaching certificate. And I went, sure, because I knew they paid better than the Y did. And I liked the Y, no disrespect to the Y and Jimmy Lawler and the people back then. They were great. But it was an opportunity. And plus, it was a career because I knew I could do something more than just at the Y. So I went over to there. And originally, I worked with kids with special needs because they saw that at the Y, I dealt with a lot of that population, and they thought I would be good with it. So they said, okay, well, we'll pay for you to go and get your master's to work with kids with special needs. So I did that for about 7 years.
How old were you when you started teaching?
Yeah, I was older. I was probably about 32. And so anyway, so I did that for a while. And then they were making some change in special ed, and I didn't really like it. And so luckily I had a really cool principal at the time that said, well, what else would you want to do? And I said, well, my passion's in history. Says, well, I'll hire you as a history teacher, but you have to go back to school again. I went, okay. And so, which was great because I ended up master's plus 30, which is funny because for me to have more education than anybody else in the building was kind of comical in a sense. But I wasn't always the greatest student in high school. And anyway, so that's how I switched to history, and I did that the rest of the time there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your students call you Mr. Bim.
They call me Mr. Bim.
Yeah.
Yes.
And their
still do.
parents call you Mr.
They
Bim
do. Yeah.
because we don't know any better.
Yeah.
So the book is called My February Vacation. It is a high school basketball memoir.
A little backstory is for 25 years, I worked for Maine Public Broadcasting up to the Augusta Civic Center for the high school basketball tournaments. And it was kind of a very unique opportunity because at the time, of course, this was before streamlining and before all that stuff, there really wasn't anybody else doing what we were doing other than the Bangor crew. And they had done it for a few years, but then the Augusta crew was trying to put the crew together to cover it in the Augusta Civic Center. And my sister was a producer-director for Maine Public Broadcasting at the time. And she called me up, and she said she knew that I did PA for Edward Little Sports. And she said, would you be interested in going on television and do this? And I was like, sure. Why not? I'll do it.
Why not?
Right? And after the first year I did it, a month after, I got a check in the mail, and I called my sister. I said, I get paid for this? I honestly didn't know I was even getting paid. And I ended up sticking around for 25 years. And it was a blast. I mean, again, it was such a unique situation to have. And literally, I had carte blanche as far as what I did and what I could do. And plus, the cool thing back then is we had no 5-second delay on anything.
Right.
So I mean, some of the stuff that we did was pretty progressive, I think, at the time.
Especially for public radio.
Yeah, right. Yeah, public television, so it was
Public
live. I
television,
mean, they could
public
actually
radio.
see us. And I did some things that I'm sure the Augusta Civic Center crew didn't always love, like when I started going into the crowd and starting the band, the crowd wars. And like I went into the Gorham crowd, and there was like 200 strong, and then the Mountain Valley crowd, 200 strong. And I said, you guys ought to get in a scream off at halftime. And so I went up in the middle of them. There's a really cool picture out there of me in front of like in between 400 high school students, and I'm getting them both going crazy. And meanwhile, the entire facility stopped doing what they were doing, and they all stopped and watched. And it became a thing. Like whenever halftime came, obviously people at home that enjoyed that stuff would watch it, but then the people in the Civic Center would stop doing it because, Bim's doing his thing. Let's watch Bim doing his thing, which was kind of fun. Anyway, long story short, after I retired, I knew I had the time, so I figured, you know what? These were such great moments and great memories. I ought to write them down. I didn't expect the book to be 1,000 pages.
That's a lot of years, 25 years.
25 years, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a lot.
And it is tournament week.
Yep.
Bim, what does this high school basketball tournament mean to the state of Maine?
Oh, everything. I mean, especially the small towns. And that's what I try to bring out in the book. I mean, if you go to Jackman, Maine during tournament time, you're going to see two things. You're going to see all of the storefronts in downtown Jackman filled with orange and black. Yeah. And that's one thing you are going to see. One thing you're not going to see is people.
They're not there.
Every single one of them, goes to. And one time, actually, not so much with Jackman, but with Bingham, Dave Cheever and I, who was working with me for all those years I did on Maine Public Broadcasting, we sat there one time and we counted the people in the Bingham crowd. And we chuckled when we realized the amount of people in the Bingham crowd was higher than the population of Bingham.
Oh, my God.
Of course, that's Valley. For those listening who don't know, that's Valley, which was a phenomenal team.
That's got to be true of my hometown, too. It has to be Washburn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They had good basketball.
Yeah, we had really good basketball.
Their women's team for a few years was ridiculous.
I know.
I interviewed some Washburn when they came down to the Augusta Civic Center. I did a few years.
So we're calling this a book, but it's actually two books.
Well, what happened was all my previous books, I know we're going to talk about, I self-published. I just went over to Penmore Printing in Lewiston. I had them done locally. Yeah. But the problem with that is that if you're doing it that way, you don't have any way to get it out to the only way they can get it is to go to a store that I happen to put the books in. And I had a lot of good support. G&B, Sandy Hellman is a friend. Nice. And so I put the books in there. Gippers, I have friends at Gippers, so they helped sell the books there. But with the February Vacation book, I knew that I wasn't going to just appeal to a Lewiston-Auburn market and that I would have to try to get it out to the entire state. I wasn't going to go to all these stores all over the state and do that. Right. That's too much work. I didn't want to do it. And so I figured I have to have a presence on Amazon. Yeah. And so for that, I had to go through a publishing company. I ended up finding one in Texas that sounded cool. And so I and then I ended up going through them. And then they said, well, it costs $4,000 to get the book printed. which is about what Penmore used to charge.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to get a presence on Amazon, so I figured it was a good decision. But then they called me back one day, and they said, "Your book's too long. We're going to have to go volume 1 and volume 2." Which all of a sudden now my bill went up to $8,000. I'm like, oh no. But I was so far into it, and I wanted to do it, so it did come out. Volume 1 is all the Class B and Class C games that I did, and Volume 2 is all the Class D, which would be Forest Hills and Valley, and Class A, which includes those chapters on Edward Little and Lewiston and some of the local schools.
This covers your experience of over 2 decades.
Yep, 25 years. Yep.
This tournament.
Wow.
Tell us about your first time.
Somebody asked me this before. I go, "Oh, you must have been scared." I never was.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think there was probably, like, when you're doing this radio show, do you think about the people that are out there listening, or are you in the moment and you just kind of do
we're
your
just
job?
in the moment. I have been on the other side.
Yeah.
And I know that not everyone is comfortable in front of a microphone or talking about themselves.
Right.
And what Sarah and I try to do is just get them comfortable.
And I think that's a great point, because that's what I used to do too. As a teacher and as an educator, you've heard the quote before: you can't teach them if you can't reach them. And so it's all about the relationships, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so when I was doing the basketball tournament, I'm kind of not so much now because I'm barely awake, but usually I'm a high energy guy, so I'll wander around the gym and just start talking to the players, because they usually get there early and they're just kind of hanging around, and I hang around. I go, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Bim," and over the years they knew who I was, but at first they didn't. And then you talk to them before you go on camera, and they're more nervous than you are. I mean, especially back then. I mean, when I started in 1993, now these kids, it seems like they're online all the time. I mean, everybody is doing, interviews and doing things like that.
Everyone's starring in their own movie.
Everybody's starring in their own movie. And back then they weren't.
All main characters too.
They weren't. And so they were so nervous. And so I was more worried about them, and I would forget what I was doing. And it was only after the fact, when my parents used to, VCR and tape the interviews, and then I'd watch them after, and I'd go, huh, but I never was nervous the whole time that I did it, and I'm still not.
What were your impressions of the tournament, like your first time?
Well, I had been. Well, first of all, I kind of grew up at the tournament. I don't know if you know this, but prior to the small school, high school tournaments moving to the Augusta Civic Center, they were held at Edward Little High School.
I did not know that.
And because the Lewiston Army had them in the 60s, and then they moved to Edward Little after the Edward Little's gym was built in the mid-60s. It was, a state-of-the-art gym. It was one of the best high school barns in the state. And so they realized, with the size and the central location, this would be a great place to have the high school basketball tournament. So and this was when I was in high school, so they used to ask us to sell popcorn at the games and things like that. So I kind of grew up at the high school basketball tournament. Not that Edward Little was very good in basketball in the 70s, we weren't, but I was used to it. So when I went up to Augusta to see the tournament, my first impression, to answer your question, was I love the energy. I mean, I loved how these towns were just so into their teams. And that was foreign to me, because when I grew up in Auburn, we were a football town.
Yeah.
I mean, skiing, but I wasn't a skier. And football and baseball, we had some good baseball teams. But we weren't a basketball town, not really. We became one later, but not really. And so to just see these people from Maine, or like I said, Jackman or Bingham, or Dixfield, Maine, or some of these small towns, and you go and talk to them, and oh my God, they were so passionate. They were so passionate. How could you not have fun in that environment? You had to have fun. So it was easy. It was a real easy job, tell you the truth. Well, you guys, this seems easy for you guys. It's the same thing.
Yeah. How has the tournament evolved?
It hasn't. No.
Not at all.
It's exactly the same.
Well, and the reason I said that is I was up there this week kind of trying to promote the book, and all the same guys that worked the tournament when I started back in 1993, a lot of them are still doing the same job. Same security guys. They're all like retired athletic directors or retired principals that just every year, it's the old boys network, every year they get together, they put on the tournament. They do a nice job, and it's very consistent. So when you asked that question, that was my first reaction. Hasn't. I mean, it's pretty much the same. I mean, obviously, you know what is fun though, especially for me, is this week I had so many people come up to me and go, hey, Bim, do you remember me? You interviewed me when I was 7 years old. And meanwhile, this guy's like 30-something, and he's got, 30. And I go, yeah, I think I remember that.
Mark, have you ever gone to the tournaments?
Yes, when I worked for the Sun Journal.
Oh,
I went as a photographer.
Were you in Augusta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, have you done it in Portland or Bangor? Had you ever covered anything there?
Did one in Portland.
See, one of the things I'm selfish, I guess, and I think a lot of people agree with me that the Augusta Civic Center is the best facility in Maine for high school basketball. Bangor was crazy and all. I mean, believe me, the people that are from Bangor will say that is, especially when they had the old Coliseum. I mean, that place was unreal, but it was loud and it was crazy, but it wasn't conducive to the crowd that would walk around like Augusta is. Right. And Portland is a hockey arena. Yeah. It just isn't good for high school basketball, in my opinion. And plus, selfishly, what I did was when I was interviewing, down in Portland, because we did some games in Portland, it's almost impossible to get to the crowd. You'd have to climb up and all around. I remember one time I had to go all the way up to the Frank Viseris booth to interview somebody, and so that was crazy. Where in Augusta, everybody's like right on top of each other, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I much preferred the experience in Augusta than Portland.
I think I've only been there for the tournament a couple of times. It's electric, and the people are intense.
Oh my goodness, they were. Even last night, it was crazy. I mean, Edward Little, as you mentioned, we lost to Brunswick last night. Brunswick's a great team, but the crowd for both Brunswick and Edward Little, I thought was really energetic but they were cool too. It didn't get nuts. I mean, believe me, I've seen it in other situations, especially when it's the old Mountain Valley Conference, and you'd have these rivalry games like Jay and Dirigo. Oh boy, they would get at each other. It was fun though. It was fun.
Did it ever get out of hand?
I mean, maybe a little bit, but a couple screaming matches here and there. But no, not too bad. Not that I remember.
Bim, what can readers expect from my February vacation?
Way too long. I mean, it's I actually
publisher even said so.
Yeah, no, it's like crazy. But there's actually in the introduction there's instructions on how to read the book.
Oh,
and and so
Gimme.
And because again, I wrote it. First of all, I just had all of this research, and I started team by team. Let's say I did Valley. We talked about Valley a lot. We talked about Bingham. And I would do all the Valley games I did, which was an incredible amount. And then I would write that as a chapter. And then I said, okay, well, now I got to do, Forest Hills. I got to do Ranger. So I just kept going and going and going. And then I wanted to do every team I ever covered. I did not intend. I figured this book would be like 300, maybe 400 pages. And then all of a sudden, as I got to the writing phase, and I was up to like 700, 800 pages, I go, what am I doing? This is nuts. But I couldn't stop, right? Yeah. You couldn't stop. And so I just kept going. I don't expect anybody to sit down and read this thing from cover to cover. So what I would recommend that you do is go to the table of contents, find your high school, go to that, read that. You'll see the memories. You'll have fun, I think. Yeah. I tell people, I said, I'm not Shakespeare. It's not the greatest writing in the world, but I'm a good historian, and it's very detailed. I'm going to blow you away with the details.
Wow. I love that you put some of the years, too.
Yeah.
That makes that's really cool.
Well, my brain works chronologically, so I mean that's kind of the way I wrote too. And so anyway, the instructions tell people to do that. I said, well, if you liked reading about Valley, or liked to read about Dirigo, then go back again and read about Booth Bay. Yeah. Read about Dirigo, read about Falmouth. Some of those schools too. So, and I think again, it's gotten really good reviews from. I think I've heard from at least 10. Maine Hall of Fame basketball coaches that have reached out and said, wow, this was really Paul Vachon of Coney, Mike Adams, locally of Edward Little, Tom Bragg of Hyde, Dave Halligan of Falmouth. I mean, Kevin Jenkins of Gorham. They're all in the Basketball Hall of Fame. They all reached out. So that was pretty cool.
My February Vacation is the title, and you can purchase it at bimgibson.com. You can get all the information there. It's also on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever you get.
I don't think it's on Barnes & Noble. I think that was an option I could have gone with, but then they would have asked for more money from me there, so I said no.
According to your website, it is.
Right. Well, that was the other. Well, that was the yeah. Good luck clicking on that. I never have. But again, I didn't set up that website. That was part of my $8,000 tab as they set up that little website for me. Exactly. Which to me is it's just a really easy link to Amazon to buy the book.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I did click on the Barnes & Noble link, and it brings me right back to your homepage.
There you go.
So,
Good to know.
Good
to know.
So we are going to talk about Bim's other books about local football, baseball, and basketball. But before we do that, we're going to bring in a special guest. We have brought a special guest into the studio, marketing specialist for Lydia Media and local legend when it comes to high school sports. That's what I've been told.
I wouldn't go that far.
Steve
So
Simard.
we've heard.
Steve Simard, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Good. Nice to see Bim. I haven't seen Bim in a while.
Steve and I actually have a connection we'll talk about, and I don't know if Steve remembers this, about the NumberGate.
Yes. Waterville. Yes.
It was more than just Waterville.
Well, no, one game I wore number 41, but I played really well.
But we're into the story, so we'll say it. But Steve was a senior and one of the better players on the team, and I was a sophomore. I was good enough to suit varsity, but not good enough to suit on the road, right? 'Cause back then it was an honor to suit. It wasn't like they suited everybody up. So I got a home uniform, which my number was 41, and Steve, I believe, was 42, but there wasn't a 42 road uniform. So Steve wore 41 on the road. Now, when he did so, I got all the credit.
Yeah, because that's your number.
Right. So I would read in the paper, the next day what a great game Bim Gibson had. It happened. It was not just the Waterville game.
Well, the Waterville game was the great one because I think I scored 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, I did.
Tackles, a fumble, and I'm hearing on the speaker system, tackled by Bim Gibson.
I had a great game.
You did have
I had a great game.
He had a super
Man.
And I made those tackles from Auburn. I don't think I even went on the bus with the team.
I think your mom got a phone call from the coach of Colby College.
Yes.
To say what
I know. As a sophomore,
Yeah,
are you kidding me? I was one of the top sophomores in the state.
Oh, my.
I never saw the field, but that's okay.
That's so unfair.
That's all right.
But hilarious.
It is hilarious.
It's
So unfair.
It was a great team effort. We as a team, and like Bim said, even the sophomores through the seniors, we came together. The coaching staff was awesome, so that we played together, and it wasn't just the seniors, the sophomores, and the juniors. Man down, next man up. That's exactly the way we played.
Steve doesn't know about this yet because I haven't told him. But I'm working. I told you about the other book that I'm currently working on, and I want to do it in conjunction with some type of event later this summer, right before the year, because it is the 50th anniversary.
Oh, thanks.
Of that state champion. And a lot of the guys that are on that team were on that team, the ones that Steve was talking about. Guys like Sandy Hellman was the captain of the team who owns G&B, and Bruce Lucas, who was a baseball coach at Yale for a long time. Terry Ricker, which... If you should get Terry Ricker on this podcast. He is one of.
Shouldn't.
He's definitely a character, but he was on that team with a lot of other people that people around town know about. So I think it'd be a cool reunion and a good thing to do. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, Steve, what are some of your favorite memories from your football career outside of the NumberGate?
I don't know. I think just the way that we played good team football. If you had a bad game, one game, the next game you stood up, or somebody else would pick you up.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic all-around teamwork. And our coaches were very specific about what your jobs were and what you were required to do.
Yeah.
Coach Aretzian, Coach Herson, Coach White, Frank Donis even.
Frank
He
Donis.
was there too. And we really, no individual, and I think that they put in the Sun and Journal that we were a good team, and Doc Herson didn't take us for a sleigh ride in August. But as 10 teams found out, we were quick as mousetraps, tough as horsehide, and ever ready to make the big play.
Oh, my goodness.
That is so funny that you would remember that quote, because the book that I just finished writing it's called, I know I'm promoting something else I haven't even really produced yet, but
It's coming.
It's called When We Were Champions. And it basically focuses on the 8 state championship teams that Ed Willis had, and the 76 team being the 7th out of the 8th to do it. We won it the next year as well. But he mentions Frank Donis, who was one of our assistant coaches. He worked with the linemen. The first 2 teams that I talk about in my next book is the 1928 and the 1929 back-to-back EL championship, and their best player was Frank Donis. So he was an old dude when we had him as a coach in the 70s. Yeah. But we all liked him. He was a good dude. And Steve's right. I mean, all the coaches, I remember them all having such distinct personalities. I mean, John White was very cerebral, very calm. He was the guy who'd call plays and whatnot. Doc Herson was always emotional and always kind of crazy. Best halftime speeches ever. I mean, Doc was incredible. And Dave just was the type of guy that he went off and started an alternative school eventually. He was the one that would get right in the kids' heads and talk to them and calm them down and get them excited. So, and then, of course, we all love Frank. But it was a great staff, and Steve's right. It was a blast. It was a good team.
So the book is called The History of Edward Little and Lewiston Football.
Oh, that one? Yeah, that one came out a while ago. Battle of the Bridge, History of Lewiston
Battle
Football.
of the Bridge.
So this one's more of an anthology.
One volume.
Yeah.
For this one.
Well, this one's more of I call this an anthology because there's a lot of pictures, and I learned how to, create text boxes and write in text boxes, which I might have written a lot more about Steve Simard, but his text box was only so big. So I could only put so much stuff in. So after writing 3 anthologies with that manner of text boxes and whatnot, I decided to try to take the reins off when I wrote the February Vacation book. And then the new book that's coming out is more like this. It's more of it's got a lot more detail on the 76 team than this book would have had.
That's so cool.
Steve, your legend is much bigger than your text box, I will say.
Thanks.
You're more than just a 4x4 square.
That's right up our age, though.
Yes, I know.
Oh, my goodness.
I remember you telling me at the kickball tournament that you were quite a baseball player. Come on.
The Phillies.
Brag about yourself.
Say it again.
The Phillies were up here, and they did scouting for a bunch of people on the Edward Little baseball team.
Well, Timmy Jordan.
He ended up going to the Yankees AAA even.
Right.
I think he got that high.
Right. He did.
He was a good ball player. But we had some good pitchers. We just didn't make it to the big show. But we had a good team, and we actually, when we were younger, we went to the district finals for Little League, and we ended up in Delaware to play games down there, and we did a lot of travel. We won the New Englands, we won the states. It was
in the book the book that's not out yet. I actually talked about the winning culture that football team had in 76 and 77, and I said that it was kind of built by Little League because there was so many guys on that football team that had played on those all-star Little League teams that showed an amazing amount of success and brought a lot of notoriety to Auburn because eventually we were so successful, we started hosting the tournaments up at the airport, and that brought a lot of attention. And I remember guys like Ernie Cobb and Harold Lucas would announce the games on the radio, and it was a big deal back then, which really added to the energy, and also that generation just was used to winning.
It was, and I think it all started back in Little League, like you said. If you lost a game, you were down. Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh, we got to do better. Yeah. And in Little League, I think we had quality coaches there, and they taught us the game, not just how to go out and throw a ball or swing a bat.
You were a left-handed pitcher.
I was.
Right?
Yes, I was.
You were highly sought after.
Unique.
Yeah, right. Did you play any other sports in high school?
I played basketball, and I played a little hockey when I got to college. I loved hockey. That was fun.
What position did you play?
Center.
Jeez.
I know what your next book should be.
You should write a book about him.
Well, again, though, you know what, though? He's right. I should, but one of the things that he had mentioned earlier was just you could write there's a lot of other players that also had pretty good text boxes during that time. Right. I mean, we had the Hersom twins, which you could write a whole book just on the Hersom family.
Hersom twins. Back in the day, you had Dave Pauly, Jim Swindell.
Oh, my God.
You're talking about some big names there, and these guys, they could run, and they were heavy. Yeah. I think we only had 2 guys on our team that were over 200 pounds.
We weren't big.
But their team, they had like 8 guys, 10 guys over 200 pounds. That was just in their line.
The other thing that when Edward Little, and again, this is all the other book, but when Edward Little had its success that it did in the mid to late 70s, the second best program in the state was just over the bridge. Yeah. And so not only were we good, they were good. Yeah. And so it made the matches even more intense. I mean, arguably the most famous football player to ever come out of Lewiston-Auburn was from Lewiston. That was Jerry Raymond, the defensive tackle for the Devils. And he actually made it all the way to the New York Giants. He played in the World Football League for a while, but then he ended up for a little while with the Giants, which, I mean, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
When did the Battle of the Bridges become a thing?
It would be 1919 was the first time that they ever had. Well, actually, no, 1903 was the first time they ever played. Edward Little won 18-3. But then with the, well, what else am I going to do? You guys, they're all nodding their heads.
What? You just remember that?
Yeah, well.
You weren't there.
I was not there. I was not there.
Sarah doesn't acknowledge anything that happened before she was born.
Nothing
Right.
before 76.
So the Civil War did not happen. Okay. Yeah, they started calling it that even back then. And you know what the fun thing is, and this story comes out in this book, and it's going to be in the other one too, is how teams would get their nicknames. See, I was always fascinated by nicknames. I mean, even the pros. I love how, like, for instance, the Chicago Cubs, because they compared them to the Bears, and then another writer said, well, they're not as manly as the Bears. They're just a bunch of Cubs. Well, it stuck. So now they're the Chicago Cubs. Well, that same thing could be translated back to EL and Lewiston. For instance, in the 1920s, this is the time of Granville Rice and some of the best sports writing we've ever seen in our country. You know, creating nicknames was a big thing. And so the Lewiston Sun and the Lewiston Journal started doing that. Well, in 1925, Lewiston had a really good football team that used to fly up and down the field. And because there was so many Frenchmen on the team, they said they reminded them of the French Air Force during World War I. Well, their nickname was the Blue Devils. Yeah. And, of course, Lewiston wore blue. So they started calling them the Blue Devils. And that was in the Journal, I believe. And then the Sun started calling them the Blue Streaks because of how fast they ran out. So Lewiston actually had two nicknames for a very long time, the Blue Streaks and the things. Edward Little, which our thing kind of died, we would call the Flying Circus. The Edward Little Flying Circus was our nickname that was used in the Sun and the Journal back in the 20s. That was named after the German Air Force. And so that kind of died off because they were the bad guys.
For a while.
But I always thought that was a cool name.
That is, yeah.
What a flying there, Edward Little Flying Circus.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
When did they become the Red Eddies?
Well, that's another point of discussion or debate. Another story, the nickname of Edward Little is really the Ghost. It's the Ghost of Edward Little.
Yeah.
And so they started using the Ghost. And then I always thought there was one team, the 29 team, they called themselves the Galloping Ghosts, which was sort of after Red Grange, who was a huge player in the 20s. And I thought that was a cool nickname. That should have stuck. Yeah. The Galloping Ghost should have stuck. But they ended up having a mascot, right? And the mascot would show up to the games and it would run around. A lot of people complained that it looked too much like the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, okay.
And so they decided to give it a cute name, and they called the ghost Little Eddie, right?
Okay, yeah,
and that's why it started calling the Edward Little Eddies after the ghost of Edward Little. Yeah. And they really felt uncomfortable using the ghost, so they just started calling it the Red Eddies, and that's where it came from. But in the book that's coming out, I say we should go back to the Galloping Ghosts. I just think that's a cool nickname.
Yeah, the Galloping.
Although the Red Eddies, we're not even red, we're maroon.
They tried to go to black and everything else. I mean, they tried to change colors.
I was trying to make sense of it. I thought it had something to do with the eddies in the Great Falls. That was like true. I'm not from here.
No, you might be. I've never heard that, but you never know.
You know, like the eddies, the swirls of water in the falls. I just assumed that's what it was.
It's an educational program, isn't it?
I don't know.
I've never heard that. That's cool.
Listen, I grew up as a beaver, so
that's gotta be brutal.
We're going to go to commercial.
Yeah. Whether you want a sit-down meal or a grab-and-go, Pat's Pizza in Auburn offers delicious sandwiches, pasta, salads, and pizza at family-friendly prices. Pat's Pizza, serving the L.A. area since 1985. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 85 Center Street in Auburn. Online at patsauburn.com.
Bim, like your latest book, if we go any longer, we're going to have to split this up into 2 episodes. So let's close out this segment by you telling us what your other 2 books are about.
Well, the other books that I had written, again, those were in the past, were, I wrote the football book first, and then I wrote the basketball book, which pretty much is the same thing as the football book. It's not just guys. Yep. You know, so this is ladies, women, and men basketball. So with this kind of focused on 2 teams, EL Lewiston football, this actually focused on 4 teams. That's why.
Gotcha.
And so then I did that, and then I decided, because I was bored, that I would, I have to write a baseball one, right? Because those are my 3 favorite sports. I'm not really a hockey guy. I've been asked by a lot of people, like, why don't you write skiing? Because that really is Auburn's best sport, or hockey. And I said, I think those are great books, and I think somebody should write them. And if they want me to help them out and show them my process and how I do things, I'd be more than willing to help them. But I don't think I'm the guy to do that. But I did write baseball, but I didn't really want to write Lewiston and Auburn baseball. So this is just Ed with Little baseball. Right. But I do talk about Little League in here.
Funny.
Love it. Bim, we'd like to close out the show with a segment called 3 Random Questions.
Sure.
Where we're going to ask you and Steve questions that have nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far. All right, we'll start with Bim. We know you're retired, but what's your favorite way to unwind after a busy day of writing and researching and...
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really...
I can answer that for you.
Yeah, really. I don't know. I mean, I watch a lot of documentaries. I watch a lot of stuff on TV. I announce, as I told you, I still announce the EL sporting events. I think everybody in town knows I like to go to Gippers. So I'll go down to Gippers and hang out down there because you always run into, it's a sports crowd. I mean, everybody that goes there are people that used to play sports in town. So it's like the conversations are wonderful and whatnot. I love professional sports. I like watching pretty much. Now that I know that the U.S. women's hockey is playing this afternoon, I'll probably do that this afternoon.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, we'll definitely do that.
So
that's your answer. Right?
All right,
yeah,
we'll take it.
Yeah.
Steve Simard, your favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
I usually go for a long walk.
Yeah?
I'll walk 5 to 10 miles a day in the spring through to the fall.
Wow.
Try to keep in shape of what I can. I'm not as old as Bim yet, but I'm working on it.
How did I pass you?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Weren't you a senior and I was a sophomore?
Still 60. How old are you?
Clearly I passed you.
So are we talking nature walks?
No, on the roads or tracks or whatever.
Yep.
Anything. I power walk. I try to stay in shape.
Still an athlete.
You got to stay in shape, And,
Yep.
that's what I do.
This question, we start with you this time.
Okay.
If you had to eat dessert for dinner every day for the rest of your life, what would you choose for a dessert?
Oh, I don't eat desserts.
This is why that was a good question for you.
Thanks for
I
asking.
bring in sweets, and he's like, oh.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Pudding, probably.
Pudding.
Yeah.
It's a good
That's what I
dessert.
would think.
Pudding.
That's a quality
If I
dessert.
don't eat
Sure.
desserts, how do you choose something?
All right, Bim, same question.
When you asked the question, I thought of an interview I saw on television with Ryan Gosling, the actor. I think he was on Jimmy Kimmel or one of those shows. And they asked him, what's his favorite sandwich? And without even blinking, he went, ice cream.
That's awesome.
I love the answer, so I'm going with that. Ice cream sandwich.
Ice
Right.
cream every day. Yeah.
All right.
It's fine with me. It sounds good.
Final question, and we'll start with Bim. If you could attend any sporting event in history and have the best seats in the house, what would it be and why?
That's a great question.
Thanks.
And you're asking a sport fan, there's so many things going through my brain. Probably Game 4, 2004, St. Louis, when the Boston Red Sox finally won a World Series. I mean, that was such a big deal because for us Red Sox fans that had waited even myself, which I wasn't that old compared to other people back in 2004, but man, I suffered. And so that, if I have to just pick one, I mean, obviously the Patriots Super Bowls would be a blast, but I'll go with that.
I think any Red Sox fan who went through 75, 78, and 86 deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they lived through that, it meant something. Steve Simard.
I agree with Bim. If I had to choose one, I think I'd be to the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl that the Patriots won. That we waited so long because we suffered, Ed, as Boston Patriot fans for a long time.
That was a better game.
But
Good answer.
Exactly.
All right.
Where are you guys sitting at those games?
50.
Well, you said we could have the best seat.
No, but
Yeah,
what,
but
what do you think is the best seat? Because what I
opinions
think
vary.
is
2004 World Series, I'm in the dugout. you didn't tell. You said I got the best seat. I want to be in the
best
dugout.
seat. What
All
about
right.
you?
How about the best seat that you can purchase?
Yeah.
You know, I actually had a friend of mine, I'll say his name online, Mike Ladd, who actually family used to own, I believe, 5 liens. And so he had like all of these inheritances of over $1 million. In fact, I was at a Red Sox game with him one time and he got a text from somebody and he goes, I just got another $1 million. I said, next round's on you. And so he used to get us unbelievable seats at Red Sox games. So for instance, we were literally right next to the batter's box for David Ortiz's last game ever.
Wow.
And I got to yell to Big Poppy
Yeah.
when he was in. Then he kind of looked and gave us a little nod and whatnot.
awesome.
So I've had some pretty good seats over the years. So Peyton Manning's first game ever in Foxborough, I was on the 50-yard line, about 20 rows up. A buddy of mine had season tickets, and it was a Sunday night game. So looking right down on the field, it felt like being at Walton, watching Peyton Manning's first game ever in Foxborough, and the Colts got their butts kicked, which was kind of cool. I did have seats one time on the Green Monster, but it was a rain out. The game only lasted 5 innings. They cut the game. It was a complete game after 5 innings, and it was raining the entire time. So that was my only experience on the Green Monster. But to answer your question, I would say the ones I had, right next to the batter's box, because you could actually talk to the players, which was kind of cool.
So, Steve, for the Patriots, you'd sit on the 50-yard line.
50-yard line.
Yep. What, like
How far up?
10 rows up?
10
10
rows.
rows up, because you got to get up high enough so you see over the players
Yep.
when they're standing up. I did go to a game in Washington to see the Patriots play down there, and that's where we were, a 50-yard line. We were about 10 rows up, and the Patriots would come over, and because we were all cheering for them. I was in the Coast Guard, and the whole ship was there, and they were egging us on, and we were cheering for them. It was a great time. So the 50-yard line, about 10, 15 rows up would be ideal.
All right. What about Fenway Park?
Fenway Park, I've never been to the Monster, but if I had to choose a seat, it would be behind home plate because I want to see the pitchers coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were a pitcher,
That's why I
right?
like hockey. I love being down at ice level.
Do you
Because
do you want to be behind one of the nets?
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I know you miss half the game.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the half you do get is
Well, you get the first and the third if you're at the right end, right?
well, yeah, but I'm saying it's so back and forth.
Yeah.
That you're
I started doing that because we have a goalie in our family,
Yeah.
and I want to see what he's doing.
It gives you a whole new appreciation for the speed and physicality of hockey when you're down at ice level rather than, center ice.
Before I retired, my girlfriend and I went down over Christmas break to back-to-back nights at a Celtic and a Bruins game. We had the same seats both nights, which was kind of cool.
That is cool.
And so I got to see what it was like at a hockey game and a basketball game from the same seats. And, of course, you're actually closer in hockey because it gets pushed back further. So that was and they were good seats, too.
Bim, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. This has been a whole lot of fun, and we'd love to have you back sometime.
Oh, please do. Like when the other book comes out that we talked about all the time, which Steve's in even more. Maybe we could bring back some of the guys on that team.
That would be cool.
That
That would be fun.
Yeah. Steve, thanks for your time today.
Hey, thanks for having me in here. Thank you, Bim. Appreciate it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Pleasure.
Appreciate you guys. Local legends, Sarah.
Local
Someday
legend.
it'll be us.
Who knew that we just sat across the wall from a local legend?
All right.
Nobody mentioned it.
Thanks to Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and DeBlois Electric for sponsoring today's episode. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam Ashby via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com.
Have a great day. And remember, don't bite your cat. And I will say I have bitten my cat.